Hi, I'm A the Poet, and this is today's affirmation. I trust that all will work out for my highest good.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Nurturing Wellness. This is episode number 4, and today we're going to be talking about imposter syndrome. My name is Grace from Empilo. Empilo is an employee wellbeing community becoming a platform talking about all things wellbeing, particularly mental health in the workplace. I'm going to let Lynn introduce herself.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Arlyne. I'm founder of Roots to Fruits. Roots to Fruits is a financial wellness platform aimed to empower people to look after their finances because, as we know, it's heavily linked to your mental health. And we've got a guest today, ARU Poetry.
Woo! Hi guys, my name's A the Poet. I'm happy to be here. I'm a spoken word poet. You can find me on all my socials at ARU Poetry on Instagram and A the Poet on YouTube. Like I said, really happy to be here.
I like that. Plug yourself right
Every
at the start.
Every time.
Perfect. And your details are going to be down in the description. So if you do want to find ARU Poetry, she's down there. So thank you, Abe the Poet. The reason we have you here is because, remember, we were talking after we recorded the first podcast, we were kind of just having a chat, talking about imposter syndrome, fearing success, that kind of thing. And Abe the Poet said some really interesting things, and we're like, yeah, you need to be on the podcast about imposter syndrome, because there were really helpful things that we think, you know, would reach people and really kind of just help people kind of understand imposter syndrome and kind of deal with it. So maybe we can start with definitions. What do you guys think imposter syndrome is? A the Poet, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure, I can do. I would describe it as you're in a room with maybe peers in the same field as you and feeling kind of that sense of inadequacy of being in that room, like you don't really belong or you don't have the certain qualifications to being in that room, which then holds you back from maybe going forward in speaking or putting yourself forward for different opportunities, for example. That's how I would describe imposter syndrome.
I think, probably the same. I feel like it's, for me, a part of yourself that stops you from doing something. So it could be a part of yourself that stops you from going for an opportunity, or, as you said, when you're in a room, feel like you're not meant to be there for one reason or the other. I feel like, it's a voice in your head telling you to stop going for something. It could be, the fear of maybe success is what we're going to discuss today. The fear of failure, the fear of being judged could stop you from doing something. The fear of what people might say, even though people don't even care, but what people might say could result in imposter syndrome. So that's my take on it.
I think those are some really good definitions. I'll just read one out from Psychology Today, just so we can just have that other definition there, but it's pretty much what you guys just said. Imposter syndrome is a psychological term referring to a pattern of behavior where people doubt their accomplishments and have a persistent, often internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. So I think the key word there is like the fraud part, isn't it? Like feeling like, imposter, like you're pretending to be something. Have you guys ever experienced it?
Yeah, I can go first, definitely. So in the poetry space, I feel like sometimes when I'm in certain rooms, it's like I shouldn't be in this room, and I think it stems from not really furthering on in like learning English in the academic sense. So I kind of fell into poetry through journaling 10 years ago, so it's been 10 years.
Yay!
It's been a decade since I started writing, but that didn't start in the form of actual poetry. It started in the form of journaling, and then me falling in love with spoken word, and starting to perform, etc. So when I'm in certain rooms, I see other poets and other spoken word poets that actually studied English at A level, studied English at degree level as well. So it's sometimes I feel a sense of, well, I just stopped at GCSEs. I got the GCSE, but barely got the GCSE. So it's sometimes I feel as if like I shouldn't be in this room, but then I have to tell myself, wait a second, it's been 10 years now. You've done so many things. You've performed various stages, written for various different people. You do deserve to be in these rooms. So it's constantly telling myself, but that's how it manifests for me.
Isn't it interesting that you need a piece of paper for a lot of things now to feel like I should be doing this, although you could based on experience. As you said, you've had 10 years, therefore you are qualified by experience. Even when you started, it's because you have a passion for it, you're good at it. But isn't it funny how in this world we need a certificate to feel like I should be in this room? It's very interesting. And you talked about kind of some stuff that's coming up earlier on. What events do you have going?
So I have a Poetry and Me live event coming on June the 18th at Bush Theatre, so everybody is welcome to attend. If lovers of poetry, lovers of performers, literal arts, definitely welcome to attend on the 18th of June. All of the details are in my bio, and I'm sure the ladies will let me put it in their description box.
Link in description.
So you can definitely check out the tickets there. And I guess it would be good to kind of go through the premise of that event. Since for me, I don't know, when it comes to poetry, sometimes you feel like when I first started writing, I didn't think poetry was for me. And I didn't really get the whole poetry scene until I fell into spoken word. And the way I fell into spoken word was going through YouTube. So I started the web series Poetry and Me to kind of spread the word of poetry to other people that wouldn't have generally fallen into spoken word. So I thought, why not actually make it a live event? So that's Poetry and Me.
Well, that makes you qualified.
I think so. And how does it manifest with you, Arlyne?
I think for me, so it's similar in terms of feeling like when you're in a room with your peers, as we said. And so I'm a professional accountant, qualified by SEMA, qualified about 5 years ago. And up until then, when you're, for example, maybe even applying for roles, or when you're in a role and you're not qualified, as in you don't have that piece of paper, that certificate, then there's a little bit of, you should probably qualify, and then you know what you're talking about. So there's that. I think that's where there's a lot of, I should probably do a course and then I'll feel like I can do this thing. That's when you feel like I've got the backing. Maybe I'm not an imposter because an institution has said that I'm qualified to do it.
Yes.
But in terms of feeling it in rooms, for sure, because my role is it's like in finance, and even with Roots to Fruits, where I'm giving financial guidance, even that, I'm like, right, I need to make sure I get the backing, because I need to be able to say, I can give this advice to people because I've got this piece of paper still. Otherwise, I feel like, am I an imposter here or not? So it still is there. And I think, like once in a while, there's a little voice in my head that's like, should you be the one talking about this? But if not me, then who?
And how do you... Sorry, can I ask you?
And
how do you...
it's a conversation.
And how do you overcome that, or how do you silence that voice? Do you have any tips of how to silence that voice? I think people would definitely appreciate that.
So I think it's first being aware of it, first kind of listening to your thoughts, because not a lot of people know how to do that. So whenever I have a thought and then I feel like, hold on a second, I want to do something like run half a marathon, and then there's a voice that's like, no, should you do that? And then it's being able to recognize that there's something that's stopping you from doing something, and then addressing it. So first of all, be able to hear it. And I actually have a book that I read a while ago that really helped. It's called Taming Your Gremlin. So we can also, in the description,
it'll be there.
So it's really good because it helps you identify like gremlin or that voice in your head that's stopping you, and then kind of it gives you tools, practical tools to stop you from listening to it.
That's really helpful, actually.
Yeah.
Definitely will be borrowing that book.
Yeah, so those are some helpful tips in terms of kind of just managing it. And so I think I like what you said about acknowledgement, because I think a lot of things start from acknowledging something and understanding and awareness. So that's a really key point, I think.
Yeah. What's your experience with, do you have any with imposter syndrome?
I think, like you said, it's not everyday thing, but it's one of those things that kind of follows you. Anytime you start something new or anytime you start something challenging, there's always that little voice or that little, should I really be doing this? To give a specific example, I think it's when I kind of made a bit of a career change, like you're saying, related to being qualified or feeling like you know what you're talking about. I came from a very clinical job where I was working as a mental health nurse, and then I kind of switched to project management, and for me that was like very different because it was kind of coming from a clinical role to a more operational role, still kind of working within the health sector, but what I found was I was very much kind of used to working as a clinician, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, like these people, like I'm not used to working according to like a calendar. I'm not used to kind of having to think. I'm always kind of just free and talking to like patients, supporting patients. That was my priority, but now everything has to be like scheduled in. I think the imposter syndrome came from like thinking, oh, you're going to miss meetings, you're going to miss things because you're not used to like working according to like schedules and things like that. But lo and behold, you just find your way, you see what works for you. I think acknowledging it and thinking, okay, so I'm worried about this, or I feel inadequate because of X, Y, Z. And then you kind of think, how can I help myself? Or what can I do to kind of overcome that or to just address that particular issue? So for me, it was kind of just, Grace, take a breath. You're in the right job. You got the job. You went through the interview because you were not even qualified, like, by paper, but more experience as well. You said what they wanted to hear, of course. So you're here and you deserve a seat at this table. So embrace it.
That's it at the table.
Yeah. So
that was deep, though. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think those are kind of just interesting experiences. I think it would be good to kind of also bring it to when I was kind of like thinking about this, I thought it would be good to refer to like celebrities or famous people, because I think sometimes we hold them to this high regard and think, oh, they can't like go through what we're going through. So I thought it would be good to read a definition, but if you guys have any examples of what you've seen, that would be quite good as well. The one that I really liked was Viola Davis when she was speaking to Oprah. And she basically said, I'd be lying if I said that every time I get an award, I just walk off the stage feeling like a boss. But in reality, those 3 words keep playing over in my head. And now what? You have an added responsibility, added visibility, which you were saying, what are people thinking? Yeah. What do people say? It's fear, and it's something that's deeply human. What y'all think?
And then what? That's it, isn't it? That's really it. And I think that stems on to, I think you mentioned at the beginning, the fear of success. It's two in one in the same, in the sense of that how I've kind of like compartmentalized it in my brain is that my imposter syndrome comes from the and then what, because of when, if we think of it this way, like say for example, when you're at school, you don't have any time to kind of celebrate your successes. So from year 6, you've done your SATs, straight on to year 7. Year 7, there's not much exam stuff. You're kind of just getting your feet wet, etc. Then you've got year 9 SATs, no break, GCSEs, no break. So within that space of time, you're kind of like programming your brain to just go for the next thing, go for the next thing, go for the next thing, go for the next thing. And then once you've graduated, you're looking for your grad job. And once you've got your grad job, you're now just looking for the next job, rather than kind of sitting within yourself and kind of celebrating, wow, I've just finished my degree, That's why I think a lot of grads get in that kind of slump of, I need to find a grad job now because time is
it's
ticking.
and then what?
Yeah.
Period, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
that I've done this. I've graduated with my cap.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens now?
Legit.
Do you think then people even have, or maybe yourself, a fear of, if I achieve it, I'm gonna need to
do something
figure out
else.
another thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So almost you're stopping yourself from achieving it because you don't know what to do next.
Yeah, and I think spot on, because for me, when it came to planning this event that I have on June the 18th, Bush Theatre. I would plug. Shameless, I don't mind. Yeah, for real. Like, I feel like one thing that was, it took a lot of encouragement from Sissy,
doing it.
Yeah, like we really appreciate it, because it's something that I love planning events, and I love like poetry, so why not plan a poetry event, right? Yeah. But one thing that was definitely really holding me back is, if this goes well, people are gonna expect this to be a regular thing from me, and if it does do that, and then what? And then I'm gonna have to do this, and then I'm gonna have to do this, and then it's like, but then I think it's that cliff of, what if one of those things go wrong and then I fall over that cliff? It's that fear of like succeeding so much that it can then all crumble away. And I think it all links back to the qualification thing, because it's like, I'm not qualified, that's why it's gonna crawl away. It's too much.
Have you guys ever felt, say you've achieved something and then you have a moment where you kind of feel, I won't say depressed, but quite low, like you've just succeeded, you've done something really great, and then you find yourself feeling a little bit sad? Have you ever felt that?
I reckon that's because you're working towards something, right? You're like, maybe it's like a big day, whatever, big party that you're gonna have, and then you have it. Probably didn't feel as amazing as you thought it would do, and there's such a big build up. You get it, and then the next day you're like, oh, well, what's my life? Because it was so dedicated to achieving this thing, to doing this thing, to having this much fun. And then afterwards, you're like, oh, that was that. Yeah, or it maybe didn't even live up to your expectations and the way that you planned it. So I reckon that's probably where the sadness comes, is because we were chasing happiness, thinking once you achieve something or do something, you go somewhere, be with someone, then you'll be happy, and then you get there and you're like, oh, it's not that great.
Damn.
That was
A word. Damn.
Got to compose ourselves there.
Right. Hiya. Hejo.
She said
Hejo.
If you
know. Oh,
Amanda, any thoughts on that?
I don't know.
We'll leave it there.
Yeah, I think best you let us know how you feel about that statement, please.
Yeah.
Or if you've ever felt that way, let's start the conversation.
Yeah.
Also, I was gonna say, we use the words "and then what." What words would you guys say to replace "and then what" as an advice for all of us? When you hear the words "and then what can we replace those 3 words with as a challenge to ourselves?
Yes.
It's one to think about.
It's one to think about.
Yeah.
Instead of, so let's say so that's more tailored towards stopping yourself because you're scared of what will happen after, and you're thinking, and then what? Well, maybe don't think of it as a destination. Yeah, there's so much material out there. Yeah, it's the journey. So I'm not sure of the right words to replace it, but maybe the shift in the mindset of, you're not building up to one exact day, moment, second, hour. It's more like you're enjoying the process of getting there. So much so, like, the day after, you're still enjoying it because this all has been a process. So it's like, stop chasing that one thing. Just enjoy how you're going to get there, because then you won't fear getting there because you had a good time. So the next thing will be like, oh, that was great. So the journey was great. Let me do another thing, because that journey is going to be great too. So maybe it's like a bit of a shift in mindset.
Or just enjoy it.
Just enjoy it.
And on the back of that, just
enjoy
enjoy it.
Just enjoy it.
Yeah, I was thinking, what a great milestone.
Yeah.
What a great milestone.
Yeah.
It's another
Reminds
something
you.
to my pocket.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And then it also gets you to kind of appreciate all the other milestones that got you to this particular milestone.
Because it's a journey.
It is a journey, yes.
Cool. Well, there we go. Just enjoy it, or what a great milestone.
Yeah.
There we go. We kind of touched on the fears, the signs, and the kind of how it manifests for all of us, but I think it'll be good to just maybe say what the signs are according to kind of research, so that we also, if we can relate to some. So fear of doing or trying new things, self-doubt, seeking constant reassurance and validation from others. That's I think,
Drag me.
right?
Drag me.
Resonates a little bit.
Yeah.
Darling. Resonates a bit. Also self-criticism, negative self-talk, procrastination. Oh, I'll start later because right now I've got this. Right? It's resonating, guys. And then downplaying achievements and abilities. Someone compliments us. Oh no, that was just luck.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah.
On that, I remember I did a performance. This was like my first paid performance.
Yeah.
And sorry, and what's it called? And after I had performed, other poets came up to me and they were like, amazing piece. Wow, you're really good. Like, touched me. And I was just like, really? I did. Wow. And it's just kind of that downplaying the gift and also seeking that reassurance. So I really felt that.
Didn't someone actually say, wait, what's happening?
Why? What?
Yeah, so someone came to you and they were like, why are you acting surprised that you did a good job? You did a good job.
Yeah, and they kept saying, it looks like you're about to cry every time. It looks like you're about to cry every time I say how good you are to someone else. And it's kind of like, I guess it is that imposter syndrome, and it is that sense of, I don't really, well, at the time, I didn't really believe in the gift and the talent that I had, and the fact that I was in the room. Yeah.
Wow, that's a moment of realization for you.
Yeah, it definitely was. And I think it took a lot of self-reflection, meditation and prayer, and trying to figure out, like, what is it that I'm good at? Okay, so if I can say that I'm good at this, like, there's no need for me to kind of play off that reaction of downplaying the gift.
Soak it in. Accept that. Yes, I am good at. Why? Because I've been practicing. I've been working at it, and I've got 10 years in my bag.
Yeah.
That's why I'm good at. People work on their craft to be good.
So yeah, just on that, I think this probably be like towards our last point. We're talking about what we're saying. I think it relates, downplaying achievements. There's something about race or being a minority, whether you're a woman or whether you're from an African or black background, whatever it may be, and imposter syndrome. There's been some links to it. I'll read something and then maybe we'll get your kind of input. So there's 2 points of views, because there's that point of view where it says, okay, so systemic racism and subtle microaggressions in the workplace also add to the mental toll for people of colour who already feel like outsiders. So it's like adding on and making us feel like imposters. And then there's the kind of flip side, or a challenge for it, point of view 2. For example, minorities are often told that they have to work twice as hard in order to be noticed, as the odds are stacked against them. This misconception leads to high achievers who are successful in their career endeavours to feeling like they have to continuously prove themselves. So for me, it's like 2 points of view. It's like, actually, we need to accept that there are these microaggressions, but then the other point of view is, but then we shouldn't be allowing that to impact us and cause us to feel like imposters. We have to then challenge it.
Because you're almost saying that then we feel like we shouldn't be in the room, therefore we work so hard to feel like we've earned our way into the room, and then once we're in the room we keep working hard to stay in the room. But then it's recognizing that we're aware now, right, that we say that black people work twice as hard to feel like they deserve their place. We're aware of that now. Therefore, when will we stop? should we stop? Because actually it's not like it's stopped. So if we stop working so hard, could we lose our place? Who knows? So it's a very interesting point. I'm not really sure how it can be addressed, because you almost don't want to say stop working that hard, because then you don't want to give reasons to us not being in the room, because we're not in all the rooms yet. Especially we're like, there's no black person still on the FTSE 100 companies. There's no chair people still. So it's like we haven't done everything we need to do to make sure that everyone's in the room. So when do we stop working hard? I think it's a deep point. It's really hard.
I resonated very much with the first one, where it was the little microaggressions that kind of feed into the imposter syndrome. I understood that correctly, right? In the sense of, there was a time when I was I was a part of the BBC Words First programme, shameless plug, and while I was doing that simultaneously with at university, so it was a week program, so Monday to Friday, and on the Monday I had like so many lectures that I couldn't actually afford to miss the day, so I missed the Monday session. So I attended on the Tuesday, however, and it was a whole day thing, and one of the mentors, actually, when I entered, I actually know the mentor, and they didn't really know I was writing and I was doing poetry, but they said a comment to me, and they said, oh, are you a part of the cohort that were told late? In the sense of, you were like second pick.
Assumed.
Yeah. Whereas actually I applied and hit the deadline for May, let's say, and I found out in June that I got in, and the program started in September. So she was basically insinuating it was me, that I found out on the Monday, so I wasn't even in the first draft, and that very much like aided into my imposter syndrome, because you're having this mentor person tell you, oh, actually you're not first round good, you're second round good. So I feel like those little microaggressions, I guess it wasn't, who's to say it was to do with race? I don't know, I can't say that, but I would say that it's a microaggression in itself, in that it was a little comment that fed into it.
On that, I hear you, and also maybe on in Grace's terms, flip side, kind of thinking about it. Is there somewhere where we do that to ourselves, where it could just be an honest question, where maybe they did think that, and it's just a question to welcome you in, because they're trying to figure out who you are, but you already went into the room, as you said,
with that hat on.
You already feel like, should I be in this room, because I'm coming from a chemical engineering degree course into a poetry masterclass. You already maybe feel like, should I be in this room? Anything anyone says could trigger you.
It's true.
So that's the thing with microaggressions, and that's the thing with people when they make comments, is how you receive it and what you heard. When who knows if that's what she meant,
what was intended. You're right. That's a very good point.
That's why we should address imposter syndrome, because then you went how many years thinking that, it's stopping you from stuff, when
it took therapy for me to get over that. It really
and it's about what we internalize. So like when we're constantly hearing things like, the odds are stacked against you, as a minority, you're as a woman, you have to work harder. These are true, they're reality and they're facts. But I think when we constantly hear that, we start to internalize it to the point where you're walking into a room as a female, and maybe there is 60% men and 40% women. You instantly think, oh gosh, the odds are stacked against me here, I'm a woman. So it's about changing that narrative in our mind, and really those terms that we hear so frequently, not allowing them to consume us and define us, basically being able to understand it and appreciate that it's a real fact and it's a reality, but also then challenge it within ourselves, I think, because it's easy to internalize it. And then walk around just ready to pick up anything that anyone says, gosh, that means I'm not good, or
that feeds into that little cup.
Yeah. Yes.
But it wasn't even like meant to feed into the cup. It was meant to go to a different cup.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I just had a thought whilst we've been talking, you know, like, because you mentioned celebrities earlier, and I was just thinking that there's celebrities that then put on a different persona to then, I don't know if we were going to talk about that anyway, but yeah, like to then deal with, they must feel imposter syndrome too, because they had to, you know, Beyonce created Sasha Fierce. We've got, was it David Bowie? I'm not sure. There's like loads of people that then have a stage name, have a stage persona. Just, you know, Lady Gaga, how many outfits does she, is that a mask to just get her to feel like fearless? Whereas if it was just herself, maybe she won't feel like she should be there. She should be on that stage. But yeah, how many celebrities actually have come out and said, yeah, I felt imposter syndrome. That's why I created this persona. So it's not just to us.
Yes.
Everyone must feel it. As you said, Viola Davis. So...
Cool. So maybe we can round off with some helpful tips. I've already given a few, but some few that we have here. Arlyne already said acknowledging it. I think that's like the first step, isn't it? Acknowledge it in order to understand it, learn about it. This is an opportunity to learn about it. Things that learn the facts, read up on it, read the book that Arlyne's recommended because it gives you some tips.
Taming your Gremlin.
Yes. Self-talk.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It has to be positive. Our minds are trained, they're muscles, so what we give to them is what they become. So if they want your mind to be strong, give yourself the positive self-talk so that you can, you know, be more resilient.
It does wonders. It definitely does wonders. And I think you kind of train yourself to talk yourself down. It's the gremlin. It's the gremlin talking. You need to get rid of it and give yourself some love and kind of battle it that way. And that definitely.
How do you guys do your positive self-talk?
So for me, in terms of, so I've got affirmations, I've got so many notes pages for different things, different situations, different months. So it's like when I wake up, tell myself something good about myself. Before bed, go and read something, a positive affirmation. You did well today. There's the I Am app as well.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, exactly.
Put it in there as well.
Put it in there as well, like hopefully they could sponsor. But yeah, so it's literally just being nicer to yourself, because I don't know about you, like, you know, when you think about how you talk to yourself sometimes, put yourself down, you wouldn't say that to someone else out loud. So it's like just recognizing that I'm being so mean to myself. I need to stop. I think I say that sometimes, like, oh my god, that was so mean. I say it out loud and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna stop there.
Take a minute to step back. 100%. No, I'm the same, you know. I affirmations every day, and I think sometimes I kind of sense myself going down that little rabbit hole. And one technique that my therapist gave me was for each letter of my name, Amanda, I say something positive about myself. So I am for A, and then M, and then A, and so on. And
could you give us one?
Yeah, okay. I can give you the whole thing, I don't mind. I'm amazing, I'm mindful, I'm articulate, I am noble, I'm delicate, I'm abundant.
Just came out.
Yes, you literally, like, I at first it was difficult to say, like, I'm like, wait, what's M again? Mindful. But now it's just, it rolls off the tongue because I truly now believe it, and I think it kind of manifests around me in that, like, I'm now positive. I'm more positive about the person that I am, and when I feel myself slipping down that little rabbit hole, I pull myself out through. We live in like a estate. I walk around the estate and I say those affirmations to get myself out of it.
That's really good.
And I think it kind of feeds into, like, some of those words feed into the poetry scene of, like, articulate. So that means I can get my words out, and I'm good at that. I can do that because that is who I am. So
Indeed you are.
Thank you very much.
And then also just from the other side as well, self-talk, but also what you consume. So what we're reading, what we're listening to, the people around us. Sometimes, like we're saying, if somebody is always bringing us down or questioning our ability to do things, we need to pay attention to that and be able to filter what we're accepting or listening to. Arlyne and I attended a Founder Vine event last week. A guy called Onyi Anyado. He said something which is really key. We should be intentional about what our eyes and ears take in, or we should be intentional with our eyes and ears, what we're listening to, what we're watching, what we're allowing in, because it can, it manifests, it internalizes, right?
And who you follow on social media,
exactly.
How do they make you feel?
Yeah.
I think that's like one and the same with that as well.
You'll be surprised how you change the way you think based off the things that you ingest.
Yes.
So it's a key one.
Yeah.
Very, very. And then talking to someone. The poet already said therapy, counselling, coaching clearly has been really helpful.
Very much so.
Therapy is an opportunity to talk to somebody, let out your feelings, get some bounce back as well. Challenge your own thoughts, somebody else challenging your thoughts. Finding hobbies that you enjoy and then doing them often, so you remind yourself how badass you are, because if you're good at football, play more football, because it's a reminder of it feels good when you're achieving something and doing something you enjoy, right? And
that reminds me of something that I just learned, which is reframing your mind, right? So let's say that you did something that you're like, you did a presentation. I did a presentation, I don't like how that was received. You can literally reprogram it. When you go to bed, it's like a quick exercise. Think about how you did that presentation, how you felt like, you didn't hit the point, and literally reframe it, and then literally think about the time when you did a presentation and it went well. So just kind of start to just reframe your mind, flip it from the negative to the positive, and then now you're like, I'm good at presenting actually. And then you just think, that must have been a fluke today. Because what we do is we then constantly think about how bad it went. And then 2 weeks later, you're still thinking about that same thing. And all of a sudden, you've got a fear of presenting.
Yes. That's
some
deep stuff.
Again, a word.
Just coming with the word.
Preacher. Oh, child.
She did it.
Yeah. Oh.
I did my homework.
Should be reading.
And then the last one is accepting it, which is what Lynn just said. It's basically accept when you have that thought. When you've been in a situation, just accept it. Yes, I've had a bad presentation, but that doesn't mean that I'm terrible at presentations. Yes, that was an imposter thought, but move on. It's fine. I've had a thought today. Cool. It's more something to do with meditation as well, acknowledging thoughts, but also not allowing it to be something you constantly think about.
Agreed.
So that's it. Any final words, ladies?
Yes, I mean, just believe in yourself is all I'm gonna say. Believe in yourself. Don't listen to that voice.
Believe in yourself and believe in the work that you've put in to get yourself to where you are today. Like, I mean,
you're in the room for a reason.
Yeah,
you deserve it.
Like we said, there's no Black people in the C-suite. If they don't want you in the room, you won't be in the room. So
get in the room and own it.
That's it. Yeah, like it's your room. You are the captain of this room.
Love it.
Nice way to end it.
Yes.
Thank you so much, A the Poet, for joining us.
Thank you. Eventbrite, 18th of June.
It's in the link. It's in the bio.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, guys.
Is that right?